Welcome back to my countdown to Superman Legacy, where I'm reviewing every mainline Superman film, one per day, until the Man of Steel flies onto the big screen again. Today I'm diving into arguably the most divisive entry in the Christopher Reeve saga, Superman 3, a film full of strange choices, baffling shifts in tone, and one moment of genuine brilliance. Let's start with what does work, because despite its reputation, Superman 3 has a few surprisingly strong ideas buried beneath the chaos. Chief among them, the fight between Clark Kent and his darker inner self. This scene in which Clark battles a corrupted, morally compromised Kal-El or Superman is actually kind of brilliant. It's messy, raw and surreal, but it works on a metaphorical level. It externalizes Superman's inner conflict in a way that comic books have always done best, with spectacle and symbolism. For a brief moment, the film feels like it understands the mythic weight of the character and aims to deliver on spectacle. And then it forgets everything else. One of the biggest, most unforgivable missteps in this movie is the near-complete absence of Margot Kidder's Lois Lane. Like, what were they thinking here? Her chemistry with Reeve was the emotional backbone of the first two films, and without her, the film feels hollow. Instead, we're given a new romantic subplot between Clark and Lena Lang, played by Annette O'Toole, and while O'Toole is charming in her own right, the storyline is thinly written and left completely unresolved by the end. The film spends a surprising amount of time setting up this new love interest, only to forget she exists by the end. There's no payoff, there's no arc, there's no resolution. It's a subplot in search of purpose, and it leaves a noticeable void where real emotional stakes should be. Another issue, Superman 3 just doesn't feel big. Compared to the epic scale of the first two films, Krypton, space travel, world-ending threats, this one feels small. We're grounded in Smallville, office buildings, and mid-level corporate scheming. It's a huge tonal downgrade, and it never quite earns its place as the continuation of what began as a sweeping superhero saga. And let's address the elephant in the elevator shaft. My guy, Richard Pryor. A lot has been said about his inclusion in these movies. And while the execution is uneven, there's a weird case to be made that it sort of works, at least in the world in this movie builds for itself. Pryor's performance is undeniably goofy, but it's rooted in character who's actually central to the story, a computer genius manipulated into world-altering schemes, and in that sense, his comedy plays as a kind of naive middleman, someone smart enough to hack into satellites, but too innocent to realize the consequences. It doesn't always land, but Pryor's not the problem, and I stand by that. If anything, he brings a weird kind of charm to a movie that without him I believe would collapse under its own tonal confusion. And of course, there's no denying that Superman 3 has aged poorly. Its tech-centric plot, hacking, weather satellites, computer viruses is laughably outdated by today's standards. But here's the thing, there's a strange charm in that. Watching this movie today is like digging into a cinematic time capsule. The computers are massive, the terminology is hilariously off, and the science is frankly nonsense. But it captures a moment in time when computers were still a mysterious force in pop culture. That doesn't make the story good, but it does give it a certain nostalgic value. Kinda like looking at the future through the eyes of 1983, retro-futuristic, which, for me, I kinda got a kick out of. Be under no illusion, despite some defenses I'm making, this is not a good movie. I'm gonna score Superman 3 a 4 out of 10, despite some high points. In the end, Superman 3 is a deeply confused film. It doesn't know if it wants to be a comedy, a drama, a superhero epic, or even a Richard Pryor vehicle. And the result is a lopsided mess with a few bright spots buried under tonal whiplash. Clark's internal battle is compelling. Richard Pryor's character almost makes sense. And there's something oddly fun about watching ancient tech be treated like sorcery, but those things aren't enough to save a film that forgets its heart, its stakes, and its heroine. Where is she? And if you can believe it, tomorrow things get even stranger, and sadly cheaper. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Nuclear War, Floating Bricks, and a studio on the verge of collapse. You're not going to want to miss it. So do be sure that you're subscribed to the channel and you've got your notification bell turned on so you don't miss tomorrow's review right here on the Silver Screen Dudes. But until then, stay super. Bye for now.